What's up with y'all? Polo Sports News Plus back again with another one. Hit that like and hit the sub while y'all at it. Look, KG had made a statement that said he doesn't think players from 20 years ago could play in today's game. And that was in an interview with the New York Times. And here's my take on it. Now, KG is the only one that can really, not the only one, but I'm saying in terms of how I'm speaking about it right now, I couldn't really be the judge of that unless I had played on that actual level for a sustained amount of years that KG played. And there are multiple players that were able to play in transition into three different eras. Now KG, came into the league in the '95 season, like the mid to late '90s, and then transitioned into the 2000s and played throughout the 2000s, of course. And he was able to play throughout the 2010s, So I think that he has a great grasp of if players from 20 years ago will be able to play today's game or not. Now, here's my thing. We do have to take in consideration the rule changes, the shooting is much more prevalent in terms of the three ball. And to just a little bit of credit, I would say that this generation right now has a slight edge in terms of athleticism. Now, I don't believe that, everybody just so soaring, jumping absolutely higher than everybody was in the early 2000s and the 90s and the 80s. And here's why. See, a lot of people don't understand that the technology and the evolution of all this plays a part in it. For instance, if a player would have got like an Achilles tear back in those days, if they, had an ACL or MCL, your career was pretty much derailed, and 9 times out of 10 it was done. But see, now with the technology that they have been able to come up with and the evolution, you can see now that guys, they'll get hurt and then come back and play as if nothing did take place. And see, that's a prime example of where technology has taken our world, especially when you talk about sports. Now, another thing that we also have to take in consideration too when we're talking about technology is the fact that the players that would have had the access to the type of technology that is being presented right now that they would have had back in the days, then we have to be mindful of, okay, what if they were training like that? But you know, way back when, they didn't have a lot of the technology and the workout equipment and uh, the overall, I would say the overall gym. Well, mm, let me stop. Let me stop there. Let me stop there for a minute. They did have technology, but it wasn't as advanced as it is now. Okay, because don't get me wrong, they did have machines, but everything evolves. Time is going to evolve. Okay, and that's not fair to the previous generation and even the generation before that, because you had freaks of nature that would come out. Okay, um, in the early 2000s, though, I will say this. I will say this. The early 2000s was able to usher in a new breed of athleticism. Okay, and but all of the high flying, jumpers and the leapers and stuff. If you notice, they didn't last that long. For instance, Desmond Mason, he's one of them. His career was pretty much cut short. Okay, and so we have to understand what every era, what they changed. I think also that would have a big impact too on the play of today is the illegal defenses, the defensive 3 seconds, and uh, we also got to realize that they can play zone now. Now, they played zone back way back when. It's just that they kind of did it in a little sneak way. They would run like a floating zone in order to try to contain Michael Jordan, because there wasn't any way that you were going to stop him. And if you did stop him for that night, he was just going to come back and annihilate you the very next time. But that's a whole nother argument. Look, I got a respect for the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, 2010s. I respect all of them because not only have I been on the other side of the fence in terms of looking from afar, uh, I would say that like now, um, this this generation really doesn't have a clue. They really don't have a clue of what some of those guys had to go to. But